when it comes to your expenses, necessary is discretionary and discretionary is necessary. Also, savings is necessary. That was a lot of jargon, so what did I just say? I'm Dr. Emily Roberts of Personal Finance for PhDs, and this video is specifically for funded graduate students, that is, graduate students who are receiving stipends. Necessary expenses are traditionally defined as those expenses that you have to pay every single month, either because you're contractually obligated to pay them or because they are necessary to keep you alive and functioning as a person. Common expenses that are considered necessary are like housing, transportation, basic food, basic clothing, your insurance. Discretionary expenses, classically defined, are those that you do not need to spend on to keep you alive every single month. So that could be like entertainment, travel or vacation, eating out, purchases beyond the basics. So think about your spending for a moment. Which of your expenses, by that definition, would be necessary and which would be discretionary? Right now, I'm at a conference. I'm at the Higher Education Financial Wellness Summit. And so shout out to Sarah Lorenzen from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill for her exercise that I did in a session the other day called Necessary, Discretionary, or Obligation, where we moved around the room trying to categorize expenses into those three categories. Here's the thought that sparked for me. So many of our necessary expenses are actually a combination of truly necessary, but also discretionary spending. Think about the place where you live. Housing is necessary, but is it necessary to live exactly where you do and pay as much for housing as you do? Probably there's some discretionary component of that where you wanted a little bit more space or a certain location or an upgrade to amenities. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as it fits in your budget. But I just want you to be aware when you're examining these expenses, many of our necessary expenses, they're not fixed in stone. You could reduce them if you chose to deprioritize them. On the other hand, having money in your budget to put toward discretionary expenses is a necessity in my mind. Sure, not any individual discretionary expense is a necessity to keep you alive, but to function and have decent, mental health and overall well-being as a person, you are going to spend some money discretionarily. It is a necessity in that sense. If you attempted a budget where 100% of your income went towards necessary expenses, that budget would not function. You would be in consumer debt because you will be spending on discretionary expenses. Better to admit that up front and plan for it within your budget. And that may mean making some trade-offs, like spending a little bit less on your housing or transportation expenses, those necessary expenses, to make room for the truly discretionary, which you also have to have. Furthermore, I want to make the same point about saving. Saving is another necessary component of your cash flow. Your income comes in, some portion will go to necessary expenses, some portion to discretionary, and some portion to savings. Your budget will not function long-term without building up savings to have something like an emergency fund or a general savings fund to draw from when something unexpected happens, because over a long enough timeline, something unexpected is going to happen. Second shout out to the book, All You're Worth, The Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan by Elizabeth Warren and Amelia Warren Tyagi, who present in this book what's called the balanced money formula, where of your after-tax income, no more than 50% should go towards necessary expenses, about 30% should go towards discretionary expenses, and 20% should go towards savings with some subcategories there. I love the balanced money formula because it makes explicit that within a balanced budget, there should be room for money going towards necessary expenses, money going towards discretionary expenses, and money going towards savings. Is the 50-30-20 ratio perfect for a funded graduate student? Most likely not. I rarely meet a graduate student who actually meets those exact specifications, but the overall principle holds that you need to put money towards all three of these types of expenses. So the take-home message for you is to rethink what you consider necessary, what you consider discretionary, and make sure your budget has room for both of those types of expenses as well as savings.